Good Sunday morning to my friends. Hey, I am Diane. I have an uplifting story for you today, so please stay with me. I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning and I knew that I had to make this video today. So, remember, it's uplifting. Stay with me. If you've watched my videos, you know that my grandson passed away, killed by a drunk driver. Okay, when this happened, I have no notes today because I know this story so well. When he passed away, now my daughter was injured in the accident and she had to elevate her leg, her knee, and for 7 weeks she and her oldest son Blaze, who was a professional golfer, and myself sat with her. We never left her. I would go home occasionally to take a shower, change clothes, but I came right back to be with her for 7 weeks. Now the first 3 weeks during the day, the house was packed with people. My family, students from the high school, teachers from the high school, coaches, all kinds of people. Always someone was there. And by the way, people had a food list, and food was delivered every day at lunch and every night for dinner for over 3 weeks. How kind was that? We didn't have to worry about anything because we weren't even concerned about paying bills, bathing, brushing our teeth. We weren't concerned about anything. I just wanted to be there for my daughter. This was her baby who was taken. Okay, so after 7 weeks, she finally decided. We would sleep in the living room. She would just lay down on the sofa, pull her legs up, and sleep there all night. I slept on the other sofa that was next to her. And her son, that's when he would go to his room, the only time he would go to his room. And I found out later that he told someone that was his time to cry because he was not going to cry in front of his mother and get her started crying again. What a nice young man. He's so sweet. Anyway, 7 weeks. She went back to her bedroom. I walked back home because I live next door. I walked home on the path that Kurt had made out of gravel himself because he came to my house at night. And I made him get gravel out of my driveway and make a path so he wouldn't step on a snake at night. So he did that. So that path was precious to me after he was gone. Anyway. So 7 weeks later, my daughter got in the habit of going out on her back porch, speaking to Kurt, speaking to God at night. It just gave her peace to go out there and look up into the heavens, into the stars, and know where her baby was. She would talk to him and tell him how much he had meant to her, how precious he was. Then she'd ask God, please, God, help me figure out a way to honor my son and who he was in this life. And she also promised Kurt that his death would not be in vain, that he would be remembered for many, many years for the goodness in his heart. Now, he was the type of child, he would go to Walmart with his mom shopping. Someone dropped something, he'd run over and pick it up, give it back to him. And one day she was in line to pay, and a man tapped her on the back, and she turned around. It was an old man, and he was standing there crying. She's thinking, oh, what? Yes, sir, can I help you? And he said, I don't remember what the circumstances were, but he said, I just saw your son do something that normal kids do not do anymore. And I just wanted you to know that he has restored my faith in the younger generations. Well, that made Ashley feel so good. She thanked him. One more thing that, just to let you know who Kurt was. If they left Walmart and he saw an older lady putting her groceries in her trunk, he would look at his mom and she would know what he was thinking, and she'd say, go on. And he'd run over there and help her put her groceries, and he was not intrusive, or you weren't immediately afraid of a young kid because he was precious. And you knew that he was a good kid just by looking at him. Anyway, that's who Kurt was. So Ashley wanted to honor him for who he was. So years earlier, she had had this thought in her mind. I would love to collect clothes from people like who are cleaning out their closets and give them to kids that needed them. But she had no idea how she would do that. No idea. Now, she was a single mom, raised 3 boys, 2 golfers. If you know anything about golf, you know it's an expensive sport. She worked her butt off as an interior painter to raise those boys. And they always had what they needed. She always had food on the table. She cooked every night for her boys. And Kurt was a baseball player. That can be a little bit expensive too. But now what she would do, she would go to thrift stores and spend hours combing through all the shirts. And if she saw one with Nike or Jordache, I don't even know the names of things that are popular, but she would buy them those kind of shirts. And the boys very seldom wore blue jeans. They wore khaki pants because they were golfers. And Kurt always wore shorts, even in the winter. He'd wear khaki shorts, even in the winter. But anyway, she would find all of that stuff at thrift stores, and she was able to dress her boys nicely. They always looked perfect. In fact, her middle son would have never walked out of the house unless he looked perfect. He's still that way today. He's a great kid. A great man, I must say. Okay. So she had this idea. Okay. And she even had the name of the business, or the whatever, come to her mind. It was Kurt's Closet, because Kurt would have given anything to anybody that belonged to him if he thought they needed it. So she named it Kurt's Closet. So she started telling her friends on Facebook, if you have any clothes, or you're cleaning out your closet, and they only need to be slightly worn, no holes, but looks pretty good, no underwear or socks, nothing like that, because that's hard to keep those looking good. You know what I mean? So her house started filling up with bags of clothes. And she didn't care. But she's kind of like me. Everything has to be in its place. You know, she likes everything to look nice. So she thought, oh, this will be great. So her plan was to collect clothes, go through them, wash them, iron them, and get them ready for the school year, where then she would rent a building and display them, and everyone could come in, and there would be a big bag, and you could fill up the bag, all the children who needed clothes and shoes. That was her plan, and she said it 1,000,000 times. That God's plan was so much bigger than hers. I can't tell you how many bags of clothes she had. She started thinking, I think I can have a place and have it open all year with all of these clothes and things that I have. So her brother and sister-in-law, my oldest son, they had just moved back to Alabama from Hickory, North Carolina. He was a building inspector there, worked for the city, and he came back here so she could take care of her aging parents. So he became a building inspector, a freelance, you know, and he worked for, real estate places would call him and ask him to come and do a house, you know, for an inspection. He did really well doing that. They were doing really well. So they decided to find a space for her to do this, because we were all hurting, all hunting things to make our life bearable. They found a cute little church in town that was vacant. A church, a little church with a steeple. It was so cute. They bought that. She moved in there. My son built every rack himself, because the racks that he built have a bottom that you can store pants on. Shirts are on the rack and other things on top. Plus they had hooks where you could hook backpacks for school. It was the cutest place. Well, people started coming, and everybody loved Ashley, because I have to tell you, she's the sweetest creature that God ever made. And Kurt was just like her. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Families would come there. If your children gets free lunches at school, then you qualified for Kurt's Closet. They would come and shop there for free. And it was based on 30-minute appointments, so that one family was there all by themselves. They didn't feel intimidated by anyone. They were free to shop. They were allowed so many items per child, so many pair of shoes per child, so many, whatever. And by the way, she had new underwear and new socks that people had donated. Well, that's where she started. She opened the doors in February, almost a year after Kurt passed. That's how long it took. Now, it is a non-profit. It goes by all the rules. It has a board that monitors everything. All the money that is collected or given is strictly belongs to the nonprofit. Now, as I told you, Ashley was an interior painter. She still had 2 sons at home to take care of. She worked at Kurt's Closet all day, and she closed at 5. She would leave, go to someone's house, and paint till midnight. She has painted until 2 o'clock in the morning before, to make sure that she had the money to take care of her other 2 boys. She still is a great mom. She lives by herself now. Anyway, she was in that little church for 2 years. She outgrew it. And a church we used to attend had a beautiful, it was first built as a home, a beautiful 2-story brick home. And our church had bought it and turned it into a kindergarten, which Kurt actually attended. This is also, I call them God winks. This is a God wink. Okay, they offered it to Ashley for a great price. I mean, yeah, it was over $200,000. But there were businesses in town that were donating $1,000 every month. She knew the money would come in to pay for this home that she was going to turn into Kurt's Closet. And there would be plenty of room. Well, she did that. And they paid down what they could, what she could, which was a great deal. Because Kurt's Closet had just grown by leaps and bounds. So, she outgrew that. She built a metal building. It had property around it, but it was right in the middle of town. She built a metal building to help with the overflow. And about a year and a half ago, she built another building that is only for sorting clothes and clothes storage. She has volunteers there every week that just come and volunteer their time and go through clothes, hang them up. If they need washing, they got 2 washer and dryers right there that were also donated. It's just an amazing place. The value of Kurt's Closet today is well over $1 million. And everything is paid for. Now that speaks to the community I live in. Ashley told me one day, she said, I wish, and she invites people to come and visit all the time. She said, I wish everyone could just see the miracles that happen at Kurt's Closet every day. One day, a man walked in the door. Now, he's a millionaire. He doesn't even live in North Alabama, where I live. But he knew of Kurt's Closet because he happened to read my book. Someone gave it to him for Christmas. Yay me. But anyway, he walked in the door. His wife died during COVID. And he walked in the door and he said, you know, I had this life insurance policy that I had forgotten that I had. You know, I remembered the others, but this one I forgot about. And I just had this urge to give it to Kurt's closet. Here's your God wink. It was for $129,000. Do you know what the balance on the building at the bank was? It was $129,000. I mean, people, these kind of things just don't happen. I mean, so of course she paid off the mortgage on the building. It is incredible what my daughter has accomplished. Oh, and by the way, 3 years after Kurt's closet opened, Ashley was allowed by the board to get a salary, and she got to quit working at night painting houses. What a blessing that was. So now she's on salary. The board controls all the money and stuff. It's not Ashley's. I mean, if she decided she didn't want to go back tomorrow, she couldn't sell that place. She'd have to give it away. It's not hers. It belongs to this community. And one more thing. There, she has Kurt's Christmas. This is incredible. That's what the first building that they built outside now houses Christmas toys and sheets for the family. Someone donated over 200,000 sets of sheets. I know that you can't believe me, but this is the honest truth. The sheets came from a guy who sells to Costco, and these were irregulars, but you can't find an irregular spot on them. Is that not incredible? Anyway, she gives Christmas to over 500 children every Christmas, and it grows every Christmas. I'm talking their wish list. They get to make out a wish list. Except the game systems, stuff like that. They don't do that. But if they ask for a bicycle, whatever, yes. Yes. I have to tell you, last year, one little boy asked for one thing. Oh my God. He asked for a blanket. Oh my God. Oh my God. He asked for a blanket. Oh my God, if this doesn't touch your heart, I don't know what will. Anyway, I've got stories. I've got stories that will just make you appreciate every little thing that you have. My dogs are outside, and I do not know what they're barking at. But anyway, I will take you to Kurt's closet on one of my videos. You've got to see it to believe it. And someone donated a big rock, and it has Kurt's silhouette pitching a baseball. It's unbelievable what goes on there and what you see there. Ashley used to tell me heartbreaking stories that would just, well, they warmed your heart, of children that walked in and wouldn't look at you in the face, and by the time they left, because Ashley's a dear soul, she made them feel so welcome, and they would run up and hug her neck and wear clothes out because the clothes they had on when they came in were so bad. She is making children happy, let me tell you. They come in with their head down and they walk out ready for school, ready to be just as good as that other kid that's sitting across from him, in clothes they could be proud of, a backpack that's not torn and ripped, nice shoes. I'm telling you, it's a miracle place. And you're going to have to see it to believe it. I'm thanking you for watching me today. I just had to make this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I got much more to tell you. Click the bell. You'll be notified of my next video. And please watch the ads for just 30 seconds. That helps me get paid. Helps me continue this. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you go now. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. And as usual, love's coming your way.